All right, Bill, we are back at it again, my friend. Let's go ahead and take a look at both of your videos for today's training. All right, so let's see your push press first. We're going to start there. Let's turn that off. Good. One. There's two. The second one actually looked better. I think what happened is you brought it down into a more comfortable spot. Three is really, really good. You catch it about halfway and you finish that press really, really nicely. That's awesome. Okay, so this gives me a good idea of where we're going to need to focus a lot of our training too, which is really, really helpful. Let's take another look at that. We're going to start with that first rep. We're going to start with that first rep because the second one was so much better. I want to make sure that we get you comfortable in that first one. Now, I noticed two things right off the bat. You're floating the bar off of your shoulders. That's fine, man. It's fine. I've always had a preference for letting it sit a little bit more on the clavicle. That way, as you dip and drive, when the bar sits in your hands will dip with the bar when you dip and drive, right? Like if it's not connected to your shoulder. If you can let that sit on your clavicle, that won't be a problem. As you dip and drive, all the leg power will go directly into the bar. Now, I like that. Part of that will depend on whether or not you're comfortable with that on your clavicle. So, we'll kind of think about that. Now, the other thing that'll happen is by floating this bar here, you're going to get really, really strong in these positions. So that's fine. Again, if you can get it down on your clavicle, you get some better leg drive out of it, and at heavier weights, it's going to be really, really helpful. Or with lots of reps, it'll save your arms. So think about that and try to do that, but don't, overstress it. Don't kill yourself to get there. If it hurts your shoulders, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna hold this thing so I don't have to lean over the whole time. All right. So the other thing is that I notice is you're looking straight up at the ceiling. You don't have to do that. I want you to relax your neck a little bit. Kind of look forward. If anything, if looking up feels good for you, that's fine. But if anything, look at where the wall and the ceiling connect instead of looking straight up at the ceiling. It's not a log, and it'll sit a lot better if you can have a little bit of a relaxed neck. So relax your neck. Just look at where the ceiling and the wall come together. You can look up a little bit. That's good. That's fine. That's totally normal. But cranking your neck back and trying to look all the way at the ceiling is not exactly what we want. So then, all right, let's keep going here. Yeah, so that dip and drive, honestly, was just offline a little bit. When you come back down, it settles in position really well, and you're able to dip, drive, and press all in one motion. And that's just what happened, dude. That's all it was. It's actually on your second rep, you just groove it a little bit better. That's really normal a lot of the time. So what we'll do, and actually you can see that when you dip and drive, your hands come down and that bar touches your clavicle. On that second one, that bar was sitting like almost on your shoulder. That's exactly what we want. So what we're gonna do, here's what we're gonna do. When you're pressing, and we're gonna do a lot of triples leading up to the competition. When you're pressing and you've got that bar for your first rep in position, I want you to try to relax your hands a little bit and just support that bar in your shoulders and find your balance. So it's not about bracing. It's not about doing anything crazy muscularly. What I want you to try to do is relax your hands. Hold the bar kind of in the base of your palm, so right across the meat, right? And then you're just going to try to find your balance so that when you dip and you drive, you have a good dip and drive that's balanced and the bar goes straight up instead of floating forward and backward and then dipping into your hands, all right? That's all I want to focus on going forward for the push press. For right now, we're gonna focus on a lot of lockout strength for you, which is mostly triceps, to be quite honest. So it's mostly triceps and it's a little bit of shoulder. So that just in case, maybe the dip and drive gets a little weird, it's really normal, especially with push presses. You can catch it just like you do in this third rep here. You catch it in that no man's land in the middle, but it's high enough that your elbows are kind of above that like parallel, that 90-degree angle. They're just above the spot where it's heavy enough to fail and come back down and crush you a little bit. So we're going to work on that for sure. And it'll probably be mostly, honestly, our accessory work. That's going to work on that. All right, let's go over to your trap bar and see how this floating trap bar deadlift goes for you. Um, I'm going to be honest with you, I really like it. I do notice that as you come up on your trap bar deadlifts, there's like you have to settle in a little bit. So you come up and the bar is swinging. You know what I mean? It looks like as you go down and come up, your center of balance is just changing a little bit. So I'm gonna recommend the same thing for your trap bar as with your push press setup. What I want you to do is when you get that thing off the ground, I want you to stand nice and tall, keep your chest up, look straight ahead, and just find a place where you're balanced and comfortable. And then go down straight to the ground where you feel like you can press through your feet. Really, like a lot of the times, what I'll cue people with a trap bar, what I'll cue people to do is almost think about doing a leg press, so we get a lot of leg drive. One of the really nice things about these trap bars and about car deadlift is it's not exclusively a back movement, right? Like it's not, you don't have a straight bar in front of you, and it's not exclusively hamstrings and back. You can get more leg involved, and to do that, all we're gonna do is go straight down and up, almost like a leg press, except instead of the sled moving, you're moving. But that's kind of the balance that I want you to think about. Right in the middle of the feet. I don't want you like scooting backward and forward in your toes and your heels a bunch. And I just want you to feel really comfortable. That's the big thing. Comfort is kind of the main thing, so that you can feel like you're powerful in the push out of the bottom. So when you're balancing, you'll know you get it right because you'll feel like out of the bottom of that deadlift, you can drive through the feet and get the bar off the ground really, really easily. And that's what we're looking for. Something to keep in mind is that when you actually get hooked into the car deadlift apparatus, what we'll have you do is strap in all the way at the front of the apparatus, and then you can push up, and it's not back necessarily, but the handles bring you back. So balance won't be so much of an issue. You're actually going to feel a little bit stronger because everything's connected and it's not a free-floating weight. You'll feel a lot better. So even if these trap bars don't feel super great in the lead up to the competition, a car deadlift usually feels a million times better, depending on how high they put the handles. That's the really big caveat. I've definitely seen where they put handles down around the ankles and nobody can pick the car up, and I've seen it where they put handles around the knees and people are deadlifting Hummers. So it just depends, man, and we'll kind of see. We won't know until we get there on the day, but there's no way for us to plan for that. Everybody's going to have to deal with the same problems on the day of the competition. Nothing for us to worry about right now. We're just going to hammer these really, really, really hard. And just one thing that I want you to try to think about, pick a spot on the wall in front of you for your deadlifts and just look at that the entire time. When your head's moving back and forth, all your vestibular system, let me back up. Vestibular system is part of your balance system. It's in your inner ear. So it's part of how you keep your balance without eyesight, right? So eyes help with balance, vestibular system helps with balance, and the kinesthetic awareness in your joints help with balance. It all works together. If we can fix your gaze on one spot on the wall, two things happen. Your eyes are looking at the same spot, so then you can just feel where you are, which is really, really nice because you don't have to worry about like constantly adjusting all the time. And your vestibular system is at a fairly constant angle, and then you can find. So instead of always going up and down, you can find your center of mass and your balance and just use your legs, which is what I want you to do. When you're throwing your head forward and back, where your eyes are, your eyesight is changing a lot, and your balance system, your inner ear, is changing angles and orientations. And that makes it really hard one, to be balanced in your reps, and as you go and as you do more reps, it makes it hard to be consistent. You'll find that you're just swinging back and forth a little bit more. So that's what I want you to do there. Look at the wall in front of you. Maybe for this one, you look at where the wall and the floor meet, whereas with the press, we were talking about looking at where the wall and the ceiling meet. This one, maybe you look at where the wall and the floor meet, and you just kind of keep a point of concentration there. So let's do those two things. Keep that going. Everything looks pretty good otherwise, and we'll start progressing these lifts for the next couple of weeks. Awesome. Let's get it.